What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. MoBeast here again. Today we're going to be talking about Nintendo and VR. But before I begin, I just want to thank all of you watching and subscribing to the channel. I deeply thank all of you. The channel has been growing a lot and pretty fast. I'm really close to that 1,000 sub mark. I would really appreciate it if you guys haven't subscribed already, or if you're a new viewer, please subscribe down below. If you enjoy the channel, enjoy my content, and if you do, please also like this video and any other videos that I make. I make a lot of videos on YouTube, long form, short form, TikTok, Instagram, everything. I just really appreciate it from all of you. And thank you for all the positive comments and feedback and conversations we've been having in the comments below. But now let's get to it, guys. Let's talk about some Nintendo. If you already know, I'm a huge VR fan. And last week we saw Nintendo's Direct for the Nintendo Switch 2. You might be asking me, how are these two things related? Well, let's talk about it. It's been about 7 days and a lot's happened with the Switch 2 since that Direct. That Direct is about an hour long. There was a lot to unpack. A lot of information came out after. You had world economic issues affect the pre-orders for the Switch, and more information, positive, negative, confusing things from Nintendo, some more clarifications coming out. There's been so much going on that I feel like one detail was kind of missed. During the presentation, they showed the new app or update to the app for parental controls. It sounds weird, I know. There was a toggle to allow your child to be able to access 3D VR games. Nintendo is not afraid to ditch certain features of old consoles or anything, or features from the past or any of that. They're not afraid to do that and just do what Nintendo does. And we had Nintendo Labo, but which isn't really much of a success for Nintendo. They kind of dabbled in a little bit with it. It was cool, kind of a cool Nintendo gimmicky thing, because the Switch was a new generation of console and gaming for them. A new step forward. You had the Joy-Cons, the handheld, to dock mode, to Labo and everything. So there was a lot of innovation there, but it seems like the Switch 2, there wasn't really much. It was more an improvement on the Switch 1, and Nintendo just riding the wave of the success of the Switch and just giving everyone what they want. More power, more graphics, more frames, just the ability to push the software and games a lot more by improving the hardware. We never really saw anything kind of Nintendo gimmicky that's new with the Switch 2, other than them adding the social features, which we've been asking for a long time, making it look like Discord, and they added a webcam, which was like, okay, cool, but that's not really anything new or anything that we've been wanting. That's Nintendo-y in terms of adding that Nintendo flair to things. So I wanted this to kind of simmer down for about a week before I talked about the VR aspect of everything, and that seeing that little toggle during the presentation and it's circulating online a little bit. I think Nintendo is going to be implementing some kind of VR, AR to their future of their games. It might explain maybe some of the costs of future games, or just by seeing how Mario Kart's priced at and the increase of pricing. I mean, obviously this is related to development costs, budget, and everything, but there might be something there where they might add some VR modes to certain games. I don't know. We saw them do it to Mario Odyssey with Labo. Labo had its own set of games, but there was really nothing beyond that. It kind of just stopped there. It's very possible Nintendo saw AR hardware where Witcher, Ray Neo, and some of the other ones, how they catered towards Nintendo fans and PC handheld fans, where people wanted those AR glasses to connect them via USB-C, which the Switch 2 has 2 USB-C ports. We saw it, how the webcam was utilizing that. And they saw how a lot of people were buying that product in order to use it with their Switch and other PC handhelds and other devices. We also saw last generation, not only did Nintendo play with VR, they did play with AR with that Mario Kart bundle, using the Switch, an actual physical RC car, and using Mario Kart to bring a new element of gaming. This is the style of Nintendo, adding things, seeing what the market's doing, not competing directly with everyone, and doing it in their own fashion. Now, is Nintendo going to be releasing a full VR headset or AR glasses? I'm not sure, but I'm going to be leaning towards the AR glasses form factor for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think because of the cost. We saw how everyone reacted to the initial price for the Switch 2. Now we might have an increase in the price because of economic situations. I don't think Nintendo's going to be releasing a full VR headset. It is pretty costly, and I don't think the Switch 2 is going to be that capable of running full VR games like we see with the Quest and PC VR. They might, but I feel like with Nintendo's fashion, they're going to be releasing those glasses, like I said, because they saw the market, everyone buying those glasses, like Rainio and Witcher utilizing with the Switch. We saw Nintendo start dabbling with AR, and I felt like that was more of a selling point, or it was more of a success for the Mario Kart AR bundle versus Labo. So I think, and it's also a lot easier to develop, and it's a lot easier to add that as a game feature for first party games like 3D Mario, Mario Kart, maybe Smash Bros, Zelda, any of the first party games. It's easier to add that kind of element to a game, like a bonus feature or maybe mini games. And also, they'll start selling it as, hey, not only will you be able to play it docked or handheld, but you could play it handheld with official Nintendo glasses with all these extra features. So those are kind of my thoughts there about the whole situation. The only factual thing that we have is Nintendo acknowledging 3D VR mode in the parental controls, which gives us an idea that they'll continue developing for that. I don't think, some people might say, oh, that's just for the Mario Odyssey and Labo, backward compatible for the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. I remember when Nintendo announced the backwards compatibility for Switch 1 to Switch 2 console. I remember Labo being a topic of conversation where that may not be compatible. And I think it was on the list itself. Correct me if I'm wrong. It may not be compatible to Switch 2 because the Switch 2 isn't running Switch 1 games natively. There was developers that came out a couple days after the Direct talking about how the Switch 1 games are able to run a Switch 2. They're using translation in the code in order to run it. So that's why there's an issue with all the Switch 1 games all being compatible on the Switch 2. It's not like the DS era where, the first DS where we had Game Boy Advance games compatible on a DS, and then 3DS was able to run DS games. From what I understand, they actually had the hardware to run those cartridges. The Switch 2 is much different than the Switch 1, and I feel like Nintendo wouldn't spend the time to make Labo work just for the Labo game and the Mario Odyssey mode for VR. So it seems like Nintendo is going to be adding some kind of 3D VR mode or elements to the Switch 2, but how is that going to look? I'm not really sure, and who knows, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think, some of the thoughts, and I really appreciate everyone commenting. Like I mentioned before, all the positive stuff, all the negative stuff can, you guys stay where you're at, stop typing. But that's about it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. Peace.